Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome to another CK3 guide. I'm Alex, and in today's video we'll be talking about buildings for beginners. I'm gonna talk a little bit about different types of buildings, where to construct buildings, where not to construct, so tips and tricks. So buildings in CK3 are very expensive. They take some time to construct and upgrade. They can be very worth it, and sometimes you might see players saying that a certain building, for example, take a look at this one, it will only give you zero point 0.8 gold per month. So they kind of try and do some math and then calculate how much you paid for that building and how long it will take for this building to pay for itself. And this is not exactly how it works, because there's also many different modifiers and perks that you can unlock that kind of cut that time short. So it's not that this building will take like 100 years to pay for itself. It will take less, and then your next ruler will obviously be benefiting from it a lot more. So when it comes to buildings, you should definitely construct them. And I'm not going to tell you exactly which buildings to construct, because that will depend on your current situation. So I'm trying to find if I have something that I can construct. I don't have any empty slots right now, except for some special ones. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. I think I actually maxed out all the slots. So let me go to some vassal, because you can actually construct buildings in the vassal areas as well, but you should not be doing that because you will not be benefiting from it. So for example, we have a city here, and you can see that there are many different types of buildings. And if you click on preview, you can see as you upgrade them, what else happens with the building. You get more and more bonuses. And this, as far as I know, does not apply to duchy buildings. We'll talk a little bit about those as well. But basically, when it comes to constructing buildings, you should always, and if you want to quickly see, go to the realm tab, go to domain, and here you will have all the counties that you personally hold. And the game will tell you anytime you can construct a new building. And in this case, I have all slots full, so I constructed a bunch of stuff. But this also applies to the situation when you can upgrade a building. So in this case, I think I can probably upgrade this one. And you can also cancel it, get the cost refunded, upgrade some other one, or construct some other one. Similarly, you can also upgrade the castles, cities, temples. But basically, you should always prioritize constructing buildings in the county capitals, the ones that you personally own, because you collect all the taxes and levies fully from those castles. So in this case, if we take a look at a city, for example this one, I'm not going to construct any buildings here because this guy will be benefiting from it. He does pay me a little bit of levies and taxes from the city, but he's going to benefit more from that building. So, and I think they can also construct stuff on their own, upgrade as they accumulate wealth. So the only time that I would consider doing something like that is if I was already like super rich and I wanted to upgrade everything real quick, maybe even some vassals, like if I have a family member or something like that. Otherwise, always focus on your county capitals, and also try to hold the duchy capital. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. The game also tells you when you have empty holdings. As you can see, I'm constructing a city here, 20 months left. I can abort, do all of that stuff. And sometimes you might be able to construct additional castles, give them to someone else to become like a baron. Sometimes you have to make temples. So all of that is fine. Now, once you're able to kind of navigate your provinces, your counties real quick, see where you can construct, where you can upgrade, new holdings that you can make, all that stuff. We already covered where not to build, so avoid constructing in your vassal territories, and avoid constructing in the cities. Now, when it comes to temples are a little bit different, and I might actually consider constructing buildings in the temple, because if you have a really good relationship with your bishop, like I do, then you're going to get, I'm not exactly sure how much, but if you go on this little icon, you can see how much he is able to give you, gold and levies. So this is a significant chunk of my income and armies. And basically, when you construct buildings in temples or upgrade them, then your bishop will obviously become richer. Now, eventually, once this guy gets old, he might have like, I don't know, 10,000 gold or something like that. And he's kind of dumb, so he has average learning. So if I wanted to, I could make him even richer by constructing buildings, and then I could try and imprison him. If you have a hook, then you can avoid some tyranny, or if it's like a sinful bishop or something like that, but you do have to pay some opinion, maybe even tyranny, and lose the level of devotion. But basically, if you have a really rich bishop and he has a bunch of gold and you imprison him, you can go to your prison and then right click, banish him from the realm, and take all of his gold for yourself. So you're kind of seizing assets. So that's the only time that I might consider constructing some buildings in the temples, because I kind of plan on taking all of their gold back. I don't do that often, but if you want to get rid of a really incompetent bishop, then you can. So that's what I can tell you about where you should construct and where not to construct buildings. I'm not going to talk about the types of buildings. That will depend on your preferences and your current situation. But if you're not sure what to construct, constructing something that gives you extra gold and development growth is always a good idea, so you can never go wrong with that. Now, when it comes to special buildings and duchies, if you go here on duchy map mode, you can see where the duchy capital is. Now, when you have duchies, I have two duchies in this case. I like to try and control all the counties because it helps with managing succession. You can institute the voting laws, but I also like to control the duchy capital, because in the duchy capital you get an extra slot, and a lot of these buildings might be available depending on the area or the terrain type. So you, like, if it's in a forest, you might get some forest related buildings. If it's a coastal area, you might get some trading ports, all kinds of different stuff. So that will depend on the physical location of the holding. But in the duchy capitals, if you control a duchy capital, you can construct a duchy building. So in this case, I have marches here. And as you can see, this building buffs up all the holdings in this duchy, gives them supply limit, fort level, hostile raid time, so it helps with those Vikings when they come to raid, garrison size, levy reinforcement, defender advantage. So there are quite a few different types of duchy buildings. And again, you should pick the ones that you think are the best. Now, if you have a bunch of counties in a duchy with a bunch of economic buildings, then you might want to go with another duchy building that kind of buffs all of that up, so you get more stuff. So it really depends on the situation. Now, similarly, now this is a duchy capital, but it's also my realm capital, and I already did a video on where to move your realm capital for maximum results. And in this case, we have another special slot, and we can construct the Tower of London. So once I have the necessary innovation, I will construct this, and this will give me some significant buffs for this holding, this county, and the holder of this holding. So all the rulers that I play as, the realm capital is here, they will have plus 30% dread gain as well. So this is a very good location to have your realm capital, but it also happens to be the duchy capital, so that's why we can construct a duchy building, which makes it even harder to take it. Because if someone sieges you and takes your capital, they will imprison you, and you will have a decision to try and escape, but that depends on your prowess. In this case, we are kind of terrible, and I wouldn't be confident that he can escape the prison. So make sure you make your realm capital as difficult as possible to take. So in this case, I would probably say that in this whole area, it's probably the best place, if not one of the best places to have your capital. Once you can construct the Tower of London and you add something like marches, then you should be good to go. Now, other than that, there's one more thing that I would like to talk about. What I tend to do is, depending on the ruler that I'm playing, right now this guy is into diplomacy, and he has a very good education trait, plus 40% diplomacy lifestyle experience, and he's also a genius. So if I have a bunch of kids and I start grooming them and kind of educating them, what I like to do is, and I could do this with this guy as well because he's a genius, so he will progress 30% faster than some other rulers. But if you can get someone who's into stewardship, and then you get the equivalent of the steward trait, you get 40% of that plus genius, 30%, and really high stewardship. Then once you spec into stewardship, what I like to do is when I have a ruler like that, I kind of like to roleplay. So he might not go to wars. He might just focus on building up the realm and making a lot of gold, because gold can be inherited. So when he dies, all the gold is left for your next ruler. Here you can pick whatever focus you want, but basically what you want to do is, when you have a really good steward like that progresses super fast, you want to max out the architect skill tree. Now once you max this out, you can see we have some building construction cost reductions, holding, we have some extra bonuses, time reductions, very good, extra gold, taxes. And if someone attacks you when you're a really good steward and you're making a lot of gold, even though you're constructing a lot of buildings, you should always have some gold available to finance your armies so you can easily defend. That's why it's best to focus on making buildings when you have like a really competent steward. So when I have a steward like that, we have some development growth, we have popular opinion, and then we have domain limit. All that is fine, but you also have the architect trait, and this will give you some significant buffs on top of all the other buffs. You can see construction time, construction cost. So this makes it, architect, cutting cornerstones, and a couple of other ones, makes it super easy for you to spend a lot less gold and time to construct a bunch of buildings. That's, I think I did that with the previous ruler, I'm not sure. And holdings, empty holdings. And you might even go to wars if you want to, because you will be doing very well in terms of gold and being able to finance your armies. So if you max out stewardship, now if your guy, when you start playing him, if he's kind of older and maybe he went for other perks, then you can just go reset. You gain some stress, deal with that, and max out architect. And then just go on like a huge construction spree. Just keep making buildings and it will take much less time, and your next ruler after that one will be benefiting a lot more. So that's what I like to do if I'm gonna make a bunch of buildings, including the Dutch ones. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is innovations in technology. You obviously need all of this stuff if you want to create a military, let's see, economic, military, if you want to upgrade the holdings. So I actually need to get battlements if I want to construct the Tower of London, so I might actually just try and go for that. Economic buildings, military buildings, you want to get all of those researched. If you want to progress faster, your learning skill is important. And once you're able to do that, you can also go ahead and mass upgrade all your castles, temples, even cities if you want to, but I would probably leave cities alone. But like I said, temples are probably a better investment because you can get more stuff from the bishop. You can always imprison him and take all of his gold for yourself. So that's it for this guide about buildings. If you have any questions about buildings in CK3, feel free to let me know. I wanted to showcase all of them, but you can easily see that on various Wikipedia pages and all that stuff, or just take a look in the game. And as I said, if you're not sure, just go with like development growth and taxes. You can never go wrong with that. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Subscribe, take a look at the playlist in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.